Today I'm going to show you how to get started with your Cubist still life painting. So you have already done your drawing with all of the objects on it, and then you should have your drawing traced over to your canvas paper on pencil with pencil. And yeah, there might be some little pieces of extra pencil marks, but that's okay, no big deal. You're going to need a sheet of newspaper underneath, or newsprint underneath your painting surface, so you don't have to do a bunch of cleanup. Put your painting there. Other supplies that you're going to need are 1 or 2 paintbrushes. So you want to make sure that you have a couple different sizes. You can choose from the acrylic paintbrushes that I have. And I will use this one and this one. And then I might have to use another, like a flat one. So you want to make sure that they're clean also, because sometimes people don't clean brushes out correctly. You're going to need a bucket of water, so that's what this is. And you'll probably want some paper towels and some scrap paper for testing your colors. You will get a paint palette to use throughout the whole project, and the paint palettes have lids. So here is the paint palette and here is a lid. Before you start painting, before you start filling it, you want to make sure that you have a lid that fits. Sometimes the lids are really loose, and sometimes they don't fit at all. Like, it's really hard to get them on. So I always put the lid on before it has paint in it, just to double check and make sure it fits. You're going to put a piece of tape on your lid, a piece of masking tape, and put your name on it. So if you misplace it, I can find who it belongs to. You will also be filling this one time, and you're going to choose your paint scheme. So hopefully, if you've done all your pre-work, you should have this worksheet that has the color scheme filled out. You did this with your Picasso packet. So all of this should be filled out if you did it right. And then down at the bottom, what color scheme are you planning on using for your cubism project? Here's the requirements. You start with only 3 colors. So you should name a color scheme, whether it's monochromatic, or it is triadic, or it is an analogous, or a split complementary. Complementary can't be a color scheme because it only uses 2 colors. So you can do a split complement and be really close if that's what you want to do. You can do the warm colors, you could do cool colors. It doesn't matter, as long as you come up with a color scheme that has 3 colors in it, and they cannot be primary colors, or the 3 primary colors. Why not? Because the 3 primary colors make every color in the rainbow, and I don't want you to be able to use that many colors. I want this to be a limited palette. I need you to work on your color theory and color understanding. So you will be using a color scheme of 3 colors, but it cannot be the 3 primary colors. And then you will be using black and white to make tints and shades of those. And this is for the whole entire project. So to help you, if you haven't done that much work into the color scheme situation or worksheet, I want you to take one of the color wheels that I have and really take a look at them. You're going to notice that there is a place over here that says monochromatic. It has definitions of the color scheme. So monochromatic is using any shade, tint, or tone of one color. Analogous, using any shades, tints, or tones of colors that are adjacent to each other on the color wheel. So adjacent means next to. So you could do a color scheme that is analogous and uses all of these colors, any of them in here, and you will be mixing those yourself. You can start with these 3 out of the bottle, but you will be mixing the rest of them. You can use, let's see, you can use split complementary or a triad. So to find a split complementary color, I have already done mine, and I want to do yellow green. So there's the arrow up there at the yellow green. I'll be able to use any of these colors. And then to go down, the split complement of the yellow green is red and violet. See how the triangle points? It helps you out super easy. So that's what I'm going to use for my color scheme. So I would write that down on here. And you know, technically I should have already done this. So I'm going to, but just to remind myself, split complement, and it's going to be yellow green and red and violet. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do is mix my colors in my tray. So this is these are the way the colors come. They're in a big tub. So we shouldn't have a bunch of spillage. You'll be using a plastic spoon or a plastic
palette knife, and you're just going to put the colors into the well. And then you'll just put this palette knife or spoon back into the color that it came out of, just like that. Probably while I'm doing this, it's not a good idea to have my painting right underneath. So my next color is going to be violet or yellow green. No, we didn't see that one. So for yellow green, since I
don't have that color, I'm going to use half yellow. I'm going to put a little half yellow here. And half green, and I'm not going to contaminate this green. And then I'm just going to use the end of my paintbrush to stir that up and get that color the way I want it to be. And then I'm going to remember what I did to mix this exact color, because I can't get more because it's not in a bottle, right? I'm going to do that. And then wipe that off, obviously, in my water basin, and my paper towel.
And then I need some white. And I need some black. Notice I'm skipping a well each time I put a color in, so that my color palette is nice and I stuck my paint in the paint. So I have plenty of space to add to colors. And my last one is the dark cobalt violet. I know it looks kind of bluish, but that's the purple that we're using. Okay, now for the painting portion. You want to make sure that your name is on the back, and if you got your piece of canvas paper from me, you should have had your name on it. I should have already put it on there for you. That one's on there. That's my name. Don't wear it out. You're going to put on an apron. You want to make sure you have an apron because these paints do not come out of your clothes. You want to check to make sure that your paintbrushes are clean. Why? Because people don't wash brushes out. So if you're going to be nice and courteous to your fellow classmates, please make sure you wash your brushes out with soap and warm water at the end of class. Use the right size brush for the job.
And when you're painting on a canvas, you want to hold the brush back here. Okay, you don't hold it up here and whoa. You don't hold it like a pencil. You hold it sort of in the middle of the handle. So I'm just going to go along and I'm going to start painting. And I'm going to keep the brush part with paint on it and start applying the paint one area at a time. So this, obviously I started off using just the straight up purple color. And I'm going to have to mix colors eventually, but I didn't want to right now, so. If you run out of paint on your brush, it'll start to be like a scrubbing, and you don't want to scrub. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your brush full. Okay, so just do a few spaces with this color. One of the main parts of the grade for this project is none of the colors that are adjacent, or none of the spaces, I should say, that are adjacent to one another can be the same color. They can be a different shade, they can be a different tint, they can be a different form of that color. But if it's touching, if this shape is touching this shape, I cannot do these two the same. They can't be this color. So I'm going to start doing some different colors here. I'm going to put this in here. Some of the colors might require you to go over them again with another coat. Especially, I think what I've noticed in the past is the blue, I think, requires more coats, which is frustrating, but it's okay. So what if I want to mix a color here and make something new? Well, once I get this section done, so I'm going to go all the way. You want to treat each little section as its own paint. Every time you hit another pencil line, you need to change colors, whether it be the shade or the tint. So I could make this lighter by adding white. I could make this color lighter by adding white. I can make it darker and see what happens by adding black to it. I don't know what will happen. It probably won't be very pretty, but I think you'll start to figure it out that colors are, it's fun to mix colors, but also you will end up with some interesting colors if you're not careful. So, and some colors could turn out to look like poop. So I'm going to put that color there. I'm going to mix a little bit of this color here. What am I going to get? I'm going to get a red violet, probably. A redder violet. And that's exactly what I got. So it didn't make very much, but that's okay. For now, I'm going to just paint a couple small spots with this one. You want to make sure you're washing your brush out and drying it off between colors. This is not watercolor, so you want to be sure that your paints are dry, or your brush is dry in between colors. So that's a pretty color. What do you think is going to happen if I tried to make a color out of the red and the green? Probably you're going to get brown, because those are complementary colors. And that's what happens when you mix complementary colors. So just working along, just like this. And then when you're done for the day and it's time to clean up, you're going to put your paint palette with the lid on it in your art bin. You're going to wash your brushes out with soap and warm water. You're going to put your painting on the drying rack by the windows, and just enjoy your time painting, because it's really fun. For unity in this painting, because it could very easily become like a crazy painting with a bunch of variety and not much of unity, you want to make sure that you're using your colors in more than one place. So just having that color right there in that spot is not going to give a very unified painting. You know, I use the purple in a couple places. I'll probably use it in a couple more places, but I definitely want to make sure I use these colors that I'm mixing and this color in different places. So each space should be treated as its own individual space, and you need to make sure whenever you get to a pencil line, you're going to change your color. And you're also going to make sure you use the colors that you have in your palette more than one time. I think that is good For now, I will probably do another video once I get this painting finished to show you how to do rhythm and shading.